Greetings, Mind Crafters, and welcome to another Mindcraft episode today. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and I'm just ecstatic to have this chat today. Another one that gels and goes along with becoming the boss of your brain, because this is what Mindcraft is about. It's not just a course or an episode of a podcast. It is a lifestyle, and one that I live myself for sure. Always a work in progress, one foot in front of the other. But here's the topic for today, which is the benefits of walking and how this is just been, it's kind of just, I don't know, kind of like on the DL a lot. People just don't really talk about the benefits of walking and just how this can be so much contribute to our longevity. And I got to give a shout out to Andrew McCarthy. He's a contributing writer for the New York Times, and also the author of Walking with Sam, which is about a father and a son walking across Spain, which is extremely, extremely cool. And obviously we know about the physical benefits, right? It's good for a terrific stretch in the morning or the evening or whenever, right? And just being outside, breathing fresh air. If you're walking with somebody else, there's all the relationship stuff. All the right now, it's springtime, if there is such a thing in northern Vermont. We usually call it a three-season state, unless you want to count mud season. But one thing about April, there's a lot of really earthy smells, and they're also, the farmers are busy spreading manure all over the place. There's a lot of smells going on in Vermont. But the whole, the aromas of the flowers starting to bloom, and there are so many physical benefits. And we talked about the longevity, and my grandfather walked right up until the last minute and lived to be in his 80s. And I know my husband's a huge Harry Truman fan, and Harry Truman, our former president, I believe he was the 33rd president of the United States, talked a lot about walking, walked every day. So a lot of people who have some really good well-being uh, going on will talk about being walkers. I mean, they don't do anything huge. They're not gym rats. You can do that too. But many people who kind of work walking into their daily life as much as possible, unless it's monsooning outside or something, tend to be really healthy. And it's not just physically, but it's tremendously beneficial to our mind health as well. So, Andrew has some good stuff here, some good quotes. He talks about Hippocrates and how Hippocrates proclaimed that walking is man's best medicine. He says the good doctor also knew that walking provided more than mere physical benefits when he suggested if you're in a bad mood, go for a walk. If you are still in a bad mood, go for another walk. He was alluding to that so many who came after would attest that walking not only nourishes the body, but also soothes the mind while it burns off tension and makes our troubles recede into a more manageable perspective. Well, I mean, this is like, to me, Hippocrates is preaching to the choir right there, because today happens to be Sunday. I film these outaways, try to keep on top of it. But I've actually been out in the woods twice today. I like to go out in the early morning with Giovanni, the golden retriever. And I had the luxury. I took the first time I took Giovanni, and we walked all over, and the sounds are loud, and the quiet is so loud. Didn't see one person. We rarely do, especially when we go way back there. But because the snow's melting and all that, the brook, the quiet was almost loud, and the atmosphere was heavenly, just almost intoxicating. And the brook was babbling, and the birds were chirping. I Giovanni and I watched a few woodpeckers doing their thing. We saw a couple of the other day. We saw a mallard couple in the beaver pond, and just all of it, nature and all of it, just taking it all in. What a great start to my day. And then today, when I went back the second time, I was without Giovanni because I was going to write, and I just have to watch. There's lost so much wildlife. I got to just keep an eye. It's all wonderful, but actually, the beavers who are so much fun to watch. The rumor on the street is they can not be so nice to dogs, so I got to just kind of pay attention. So the second time I went back and walked all over the place first, and also then I wrote a little bit. Then I put it down and walked more, and came back, because and within like a nanosecond I had the sentences I needed to fill in the rest, just from getting up from where I was perched writing. I walked around right by the beaver pond. It all just came flooding, the creativity just flooded right in. And so Andrew continues with talking about Kierkegaard now, who says, agreed with Hippocrates when he confessed, I know of no thought so burdensome that one cannot walk away from it. These are some greats here. Charles Dickens was even more direct. If I could not walk far and fast, he wrote, I think I would just explode and perish. And wow, just some quotes for the from the greats. And I have to tell you, I feel the same way. I actually, I have to have uh, a little bit of a procedure done on my foot this summer, and my whole thing isn't. And not a big deal. It's just the recovery that's a big deal. You got to be in a boot for I think 6 weeks, and yikes, because my whole thing is that I walk every single day of my life, even if it's drizzling, unless, it's like a monsoon, because I don't wanna, get out there and catch, bronchitis or something, but, it takes a lot for me to not walk, so my whole apprehension with doing the little foot procedure that's a drive-through, it's, like, not even a big deal, is that because I can't fathom, um, not being able to get out there. I think it's really just gonna be about 2 weeks, because the boot there are flatter trails where I go, and that'll be fine, but even 2 weeks, yikes, because it's so much a part of my well-being regimen and my lifestyle. It's way bigger than my well-being regimen. It is a part of my lifestyle, and, just as, Andrew McCarthy, author of Walking with Sam, Across Spain, that's his book, and that Walking Across Spain is that it's for me, it's both physical and mental, but I think I'd almost the mental benefits, also spiritual, we gotta throw that in, because every single day when I'm out there in the woods, I have, like, a whole prayer routine, I do all that, and then I'm just, practicing mindfulness, I close my eyes, I do the 4-4-8 breathing sometimes, listening to the brook, and so we're gonna get some supports in place so that they can, help hop along, be in the woods, even with the boot, because it's just got to happen. That's just it. It's like, to me, it's like breathing oxygen. I've got to be out in nature walking. That's just it. And Andrew continues, but walking does more than keep the devil from the door. He says the Welsh poet, and he says, and sometime vagabond, W.H. Davies wrote, now shall I walk or shall I ride? Ride, pleasure said. Walk, joy replied. Walking buoys the spirits in a way that feels real and earned. It feels owned. And walking, like a generous partner, meets us more than halfway. And then Andrew goes on to rattle off some more authors: William Wordsworth and Virginia Woolf and William Blake. And then he says Thomas Mann assures us thoughts come clearly while one walks. And even J.K. Rowling, I love her. I love her. I love her because the Harry Potter books are just amazing. We're huge HP fans in this house. And she says that there's nothing like a nighttime stroll to give you ideas. This is just exactly what I'm saying, because I went out there again walking twice, and I brought my notepad with me. There's no internet out there. I don't know if that's obvious or not, but we live way out there. So the computer's worth nothing. So I was doing the old school, and then I walk, then I'd come back to it, then walk and come back to it. And it's amazing how the combination of walking and being out in nature just absolutely just opens the door, or opens the floodgates for creativity and ideas. And the thing is, the creativity and it's a clarity thing, so much clarity. So I wouldn't say I had writer's block, because I was pretty in the zone, except for I was just had like I'm like a little bit of a stumbling, because I actually had so much creativity going on that I didn't know what I wanted to cut out and keep. So that's when I needed more clarity. Took a little stroll up by the beaver pond. It all just fell into place, landed on the paper, and I just came back and fitted in the project I was doing. It was like a done deal, all because of the nice walks out in the woods. Just brought it all together. And so Andrew continues talking about how he went to Spain and walking the Camino, and how previously he had thought, you know, was walking being like a waste of time, slowest way to get anywhere. And then he talks about this memorable walk. The month-long walk revealed me to myself in a way nothing else had. My looping pattern of thinking, my habitual emotion cycles, my fearful nature. The Camino wore down my resistance to seeing myself, and then step after step built me back up. It altered my place in the world. And I have to second that, because in addition to going out there just to be mindful with Giovanni, and say not just to be mindful, because it's the most important thing we can really do, right? Or, you know, to be present in our lives and live deliberately, obviously. And also, like, I went out there to write today. I also go out there when I'm having racy monkey mind days. And there was one day a few weeks ago, I told myself this morning, I said, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming out of the woods until my mind is clear, because and it wasn't, you know, when we assume negative, it wasn't really negative. I was might have been a little bit of that, but there was also a lot of excitement. It was just I was in with my very fast mind, which is what I prefer to call ADHD. I was just having an ADHD day, and I was just fast, fast, fast. I couldn't focus on anything. It was I was in such a spin, and so I stayed out much longer, which Giovanni loved. We did a whole long loop all the way up and around part of the mountain, and it took a few hours for me to, you know, get centered. But wow, you know, and so kind of declaring not coming out of the woods, and thankfully it was a day I could do that, because I came back like a shiny brand new penny. And then lastly, Andrew McCarthy, author of Walking with Sam, talks about the great naturalist John Muir. He says, who went keenly observed, I only went out for a walk, and going out, I found, was really going in. Has anyone ever imagined from ambling through nature for an hour and regretted their improved state of being? Perhaps this is what that dedicated walker, Henry David Thoreau, oh my gosh, one of my favorites, was referring to when he wrote, I took a walk in the woods and came out taller than the trees. So Andrew winds it up saying, so the secret is out there. It's under the leaves on the trail. It's right there on the sidewalk. Spring has sprung. So lace up. All right, so this is sort of a natural, sort of great place to wind up. I am super hopeful that you'll grab your sneakers if you're a sidewalk urban person, or your hiking boots if you're a rural person, or whatever, who cares? Just get out there and walk, and that's it. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the beautiful Northern Vermont. Have a mindful walking day.